Hello everyone, welcome once again to Lang Park. Well, today it's the final of the Woolies Trophy. They're the two leading teams at the end of the first round of competition in the Winfield Cup, and those two teams are Souths and Valleys. Should be a big one. Let's see the teams now with George Doniger.
Southern Suburbs line up a little bit disjointed. Neil Horton will be wearing number 3 but playing halfback, and a new player, Duncan Webster, number 9, playing in the second row, with Astle going to the centre and Argyros going back to lock forward. Now the full team for Southern Suburbs: Spencer at fullback, Thompson and Chalice on wings. In the centres, number 8, Astle and Belcher. The halves will be Harry and Wharton, and Argyros goes to lock. Webster and Lumbey in the second row, Higgs and Grinky in the front row, and Billy Johnston, the hooker. In the Valleys lineup, they've probably got one of their best lineups. Ziggy Strazzer there on the rubbing table, number 4. He's the only player that wasn't in their team earlier in the year. Peter Fisher is probably the only player out of the Valleys team that should be there, and he's playing in reserve grade. So the full lineup for Valleys: Solosky at fullback, Klein and Wheeland on the wings, Neil and Strazzer in the centre, Duncan and Murray the halves, Lewis at lock forward, Arnold and Niebling in the second row, Walker, McGuinness the props, and Terry Carrock the hooker. Oh, sorry, mate. Tony. We should have dropped it in.
He can probably just go straight from there, can
Tony. Yay. So, right, I'll give you a 5, 4, 3 to 1, right? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's how both teams line up. Now let's get on with the football. Okay. Right.
Sleepy.
Oh. Geez, mate, they're fired up.
Fired up.
They're coming out screaming at each other. For the binoculars, you see that, Andy? They're all yelling at each other.
I need to do something. I need more of a cats.
There's Meninga going back up there now, Tony. Tony? Yeah, I know, but Power's there as well.
It's the kick-off coming up for the final of the Woolworths Trophy here. The two leading teams at the end of the first round, and that's Scott Scholosky to take it from the kick-off for Valleys, straight ahead, and has met with some pretty spirited defence. And that's Argyros, Billy Argyros, who's playing in the lock-forward position today, was originally named as halfback, and consequently he's wearing the number 7, but a bit of a rearrangement to the south side, as George has only just told you. Okay, so now it's going to be Walker to take it up for Fortitude Valley. That means, of course, there's only one player backing up from the test match yesterday, and that's the Valleys 5'8", or lock forward today, Australian 5'8", in Wally Lewis. And he had a great game yesterday, George.
Terrific game for Wally Lewis. Very noticeable when they come out of the, to start the game, Bill, the Southern Suburbs players were yelling at each other, and they're obviously very psyched up for this one.
Well, they'll need to be, because they're a little bit below par so far as strength goes today with those few changes. However, that's Spencer who took it from the kick through there. Taken back this time by Neil Wharton. He's the new halfback for Southern Suburbs today. Billy Johnston with the headband coming up as the dummy half now. This is Argyros. Quickly going to be wrapped up though. The tacklers there were Brian Niebling and also Mark Murray. Johnston to dummy half again. Through, but only gets a short way before he's knocked over in the tackle, coming about there by Brian Niebling. Niebling returning to the Valley side today. He's had a bit of a break for a while due to injury, but he seemed to be carrying that injury for some time prior to that, and I think the bit of a rest would have done him the world of good. It's the final tackle, so the kick through now, coming through to Vic Wheeland, taking plenty of time. That's the Valley quarter line you can see there. Doesn't get far though. Coming through very smartly is Adrian Higgs as the tackler. This is Scholosky from dummy half. He'll be about 12 metres short of the halfway mark before he goes to ground with it. Terry Carrock is the dummy half again. That's Walker. Straight at Ash Lumbey, and also getting in underneath once again is Higgs. Caroccan is dummy half. They're 10 metres short of the halfway mark. Valley's content to settle it down in the opening part of this match. Big Al McGuinness getting up to a couple of metres short of halfway now. Dummy half is Caroccan. Back over there to Wally Lewis. Lewis with a long one to Mark Murray. Strasser, Ziggy Strasser back into the Valley side. Of course, Fisher will probably make his way back in very shortly. Niebling to Lewis. Going to kick for touch. Can he find it? Spencer's back there. No, he going to take it there just short of the quarter line. Ken Spencer, the fullback's had a little bit of work. He got away from Wally Lewis this time. Setting sail across field. Doesn't get too far though. Duncan, Darryl Duncan, the 5'8", coming in for Valleys to get right in underneath. Johnston is dummy half. It's midway between the quarter and halfway, down inside South's territory. And that'll be Higgs, Adrian Higgs coming up. Dummy half Johnson across to Argyros. He's a real competitor, Billy Argyros. They won't lose much while he's there, George.
Very tough little fellow. He's got a lot of strapping on his leg, but Billy, you see his left knee there. I'm a bit doubtful as to whether he can keep going, although it looks like it's there is a bit of a prop more than it was going to help him, because it doesn't look as if it's too tight there. But Argyros, a very competitive little player, and they're going to need his competitiveness here this afternoon. Some interested spectators in the grandstand. There's the Southern Suburbs cheer squad, and they're not allowed onto the field. They can yell as much as they like on the outside. Well,
they're making themselves heard pretty well over there too. Kicker's going to find touch about 10 metres inside Valley territory. Just talking about Argyros, George, we've noticed that that knee guard quite a few times, and it's probably just part of his outfit. Here's Valley's coming away with it, straight in the hands of Darryl Duncan. Duncan about 8 metres inside South's territory. They won't be able to make too many mistakes like that, South, if they're going to stay in this match. Mark Murray to Niebling. He can't get away from the tackle of Bruce Astle. And Argyros coming in, and also into the tackle this time will be Wharton. From the play the ball, or rather it'll be the front row, Gary Grinke there. From the play the ball now, Valleys, with Walker coming up as dummy half. And that's Big Al McGuinness out of the first one. Lost it now, coming across as Chalice, can't pick it up through the legs of Johnson. It's going everywhere. They're all having a crack at it. And eventually it'll be Chalice the one to end up with it. But gee, the South's team ending up right back on their own quarter line. This is Spencer. Tackle by Niebling. Nice tackle. Straight in around the ankles. Dummy half Johnston. Sends it back over there to Higgs. Bobby Arnold is the tackler this time. Johnston. It's the final of the Woolies Trophy today for those two leading teams at the end of the first round. And from what we've seen so far this season, they should give us a good game here today. Now this is going to bounce crossfield, going to be taken over there by Astle. Astle got it to Thompson. Thompson tackled by Shalosky. Nice tackle. 20 metres inside Valley territory in the first bit of enterprise we've seen, and it was South lurking up there and almost pulled it off. They did, Billy, and that's the kind of stuff that can start winning games for you. Good, noticeable then that Scott Shalosky, as we well know, seen him in the State League and during this year, very fast at fullback. Doesn't look like he's going very fast, but he cut Thompson down straight away. Waiting now for the ball to go into the scrum. First scrum of the match, and a penalty coming up to Souths. Referee Eddie Ward in charge here today. We haven't seen Wally Lewis coming across to check with Ward exactly what it's all about. Meanwhile, we'll see a kick for touch with Neil Wharton. He's going to find it, bring play up to about 20 metres out now from the Valley line. We'll see what South can do with it from here. Play has been in progress for 5.5 minutes here at Lang Park. Johnston onto the mark, takes the tap to Wharton, then across to Harry. Wharton doubles around. Spencer coming into the back line and going to be wrapped up, put to the ground. That is the Valley's quarter line you can see there. Johnston dummy half. No points on the borders yet. That's Wharton. Doubling it back. Oh, lost by Astle. Valley's dive on it very smartly. What's that happened 3 or 4 times in this first 5 minutes that teams have lost the ball in critical situations. Brian Niebling dived on it there and hurt himself in the dive, holding the back of his head at the moment. Meanwhile, Valley's going on with it. That's Terry Caroccan, their hooker. Good player in the open, as well as winning them a fair share of the ball. Souths can't afford to make mistakes like that. Valley's very quick to pounce on it. Big Al McGuinness taking them all on up the centre. And there were plenty of black and white players there to meet him too. Caroccan dummy half. Wally Lewis. Ooh, cuts out Strasser, the big long one coming into Mickey Neal. Neal gets it away to Vic Wheel and gives him just a little bit of room to move. Straight ahead, tackled by Chalice. Back to Neal, but Neal wrestled to the ground by Billy Johnston. Almost onto the halfway mark now. That big long pass of Lewis's. Oh, he was going to let it go before he had it on that occasion. But the referee playing a knock on. Yes, you don't often see Wally Lewis make a mistake like that, but I think you called it right, Billy. He had the ball in his hands, was going to shoot another 45 metres across the field before he actually got his fingers around it. It's going to be a penalty to Souths. Halfback there not retiring, and Mark Murray. Referee Ward having no hesitation on that occasion. Actually, he didn't have to look too far, George. Murray was right in front of him most of the way.
He didn't make much effort to get back. He might have been taking lessons from Steve Mortimer.
OK, now we'll see the tap to be taken. It's 30 metres out from the Valley line. Opening 7 minutes of the match gone now. That's Higgs. Adrian Higgs trying to take it up the centre. Almost up to the quarter line now as Johnston drops up as dummy half. That's Wharton, a halfback. He swings it away to Bruce Harry. Harry well and truly wrapped up over there.
Eddie Ward, referee, signalled 6 tackles to go, played it in to play the ball.
So back it goes this time to coming up there, Webster. Dummy half Johnston, that's Grinke. Now penalty coming up against Valleys. Up offside, Arnold the major one being penalised. Wally Lewis having something to say to referee Ward on the way through once again. So we'll see probably the first chance, well certainly the first chance for points to come up. And who's going to take the kick?
Gary Belcher will take over the kicking from Mal Meninga.
And he's the one placing the ball right now. He's a couple of metres to the right-hand side of the uprights and about 20 metres out from that line.
4 to 4. You want to pick it up here or what?
What's it, 1.5? So 8.5 minutes into the first half here at Lang Park in this Woolworths Trophy final. And the first chance for points on the board as we see Gary Belcher coming in for Southern Suburbs. It's on its way. Oh. He's missed it. Way to the left-hand side of the uprights. Well, that was a pretty easy one, George, and a pretty certain 2 points.
He didn't miss it. He missed it by a mile. That was unfortunate. Belcher taking over the kicking role. Of course, Meninga not being able to play, as we told you just before the start of the program. And a golden opportunity for South to put points on, but to no avail. Big long one from Wally Lewis from the quarter line, going to be taken back there by Ken Spencer. The good news talking to Mal Meninga this morning, George, on Sports World, that maybe only about 2 or 3 weeks before. I noticed him sitting in the grandstand. We'll pick him up after. He seems to have his elbow wrapped in an ice pack and watching the game from there. OK, so now we'll see South's in possession. Running across field is Gary Thompson. Thompson wrapped up about 4 or 5 metres short of halfway. Johnston from dummy half. Working up, that's Argyros. Tackler is Ziggy Strasser, and also coming in over the top is Brian Niebling. He'll need a big one today, George. There's been some of those back rowers in Brisbane club football have been playing some good ones. Well, Niebling's there, as we well know, and he has to play well this afternoon to make sure he gets there. Wharton puts in the little kick. Shalosky coming across, takes it nicely. Eventually runs into the tackler, Bruce Astle. Bruce Astle wearing number 8, but of course he's playing in the centres today. As Henry Holloway said this morning, back into his proper position. I don't know about that, but he's made a good fist of it as lock. Here's Mickey Neal. Neal about 3 or 4 metres inside South's territory. From the play the ball, Russell Klein, dummy half, to Strasser. Then across to Niebling. Niebling about 8 metres inside South's territory before he's put down. Adrian Higgs, the first tackler getting there. Corocan, no points on the board. This is Mark Murray. Lurking back, that's Bobby Arnold. Got away from Argyros. Couldn't get away from the next tackle, though. Put down there by Wharton. Walker. Walker to about 15 metres inside South's territory. Not much in the match so far. Mark Murray. Could be one of the danger men. Tried to run through, but ran straight into Grinke. Going to be picked up back there by Spencer. Referee Ward said nothing wrong with it. Good decision, because Grinke just stood there, never attempted to hit him or try to tackle him, and Murray ran slap bang into him. It was good to see. An old Bobby Fulton trick, that one. It certainly is. It didn't work this time. Wharton playing it back to Johnston, then across to Grinke. Grinke about 15 metres short of halfway. Dummy half Johnston again. This is Ash Lumbey. He'll be tackled, however, by Mark Murray underneath. Lewis over the top. They don't get him into the ground. Argyros. Cross into Higgs. Plenty of Valley's defence over there to put him down. Final tackle coming up now. Johnston. Wharton, oh, he's lost the ball, regathered. But the referee to play the knock on. It's midway between the quarter and halfway down in South's territory. Wharton to feed for South, a penalty to Fortitude Valley. Incorrect feed by the halfback. And so they'll kick for touch, Fortitude Valley. At this stage, 12 minutes of play gone in the first half. Right. Give us a score. There we go.
Valley's to take the tap free now after a good kick for touch from Mick Neal. They're only about 10 metres out as Mark Murray sends it away to Lewis. Lewis gets it away to Vic Whelan. Whelan put down about 3 or 4 metres out. He'll play it now. Here's a chance for Valley's to put some pressure on. Carocca to Murray. Murray got away to Walker charging through. Walker going to be put over, however. He's only about 6 metres out from that line. Carocca to dummy half. Over to Murray. Let's look for a bit of action coming up here. Turns it back the other way to Darryl Duncan. Well, he's one of the players that can certainly score from a position like that, but he's pulled down a couple of metres out. Walker from dummy half tries to force his way through, but Greg Walker wrapped up in the tackle. He'll play it. Duncan is dummy half now. Can Valley's break through on this occasion? Lewis could get up to a few tricks here. He decides to go himself. Now gets it around the corner to Shaloski's lost it. Going to be dived on this time by Webster.
Oh, beautiful football from Lewis, but had Shaloski held that pass, a certain try. Lewis did everything right, but come undone at the last moment.
Okay, so Souths are off the hook on this occasion as Johnson comes up as dummy half. Argyros knocked over by Bobby Arnold. Very quickly up there. 13 minutes gone in the first half. No points on the board. Cutting up the centre is Higgs. Got away nicely to Billy Johnston. Johnston with no support and eventually ridden into the ground by Big Al McGuinness. He'll play it now. Harry's up as dummy half to Argyros. A little bit disorganised after that breakthrough there, South. Argyros doing the only thing he can do, and that's to try and have a little bit of a run up the centre. Johnston to dummy half. It's Bruce Harry. The 5/8 for South. Oh, over the top. He heard Wharton coming through. That's a bit dangerous at this time of the day. Towed through by Billy Johnson for the referee to play the knock-on.
I don't think there was any need for that. There was a little bit of speculative play there, and Southern Suburbs are falling for the trap of stepping back inside. Those last 3 rucks, the ball should have gone wide. They step back inside every time.
Look at Strasser at it. 14 minutes into the first half as Wharton feeds the scrum. No points on the board. There's Mark Murray trying to slip around there, but Wharton came across very smartly. And also getting over there this time was Webster. Lewis, the big long one to Shaloski into the back line. Shaloski wrapped up on this occasion. Lumbey and also Grinke are the tacklers. This is Walker charging his way through, but eventually put down there by Gary Belcher. Caroccan's coming up as dummy half now. Over to Mark Murray, to Duncan. Duncan deciding to have a little bit of a run. Tried to unload it then to Bobby Arnold, but that was a bit worthless. Eventually coming away with it is Wharton for Souths. He'll be tackled by Strasser. They're about 24 metres out from their own line, Souths. Bruce Astle. Pass back to Johnston. Mark Murray is the tackler. 30 metres out from their own line. 15 minutes of the match gone so far, and not a great deal in it, George.
Pretty... Whoop, they might find something here. Oh, tackle from behind, 6 to go. You're right, Billy. There was not much. Either side's making a few fundamental errors, but they're turning the ball back inside. Both sides too much, I feel.
South bringing a bit of enterprise into their attack on that occasion as Higgs came up to about 8 metres inside Valley territory. Bruce Harry now. Harry, got out of a high one there by Bobby Arnold, but put off balance and eventually claimed. Up as dummy half is Astle. It's Webster. Back to Johnston. Billy Johnston grabbed up there by the Valley defence. 10 metres inside Valley territory now. Grinke working the blind side. The big front rower eventually put to the ground. He needs a bit of a game today, I guess, George, to consolidate himself in the Brisbane side for the KB Cup match.
Well, his name's got to come up, that's for sure.
Going to be lost this time. Going to be lost there by Belcher. Valley ball. Wally Lewis quickly onto it. He'll play it now. Walker's away from dummy half, but Ash Lumbey's over there with him. Steers him into the defence, but he broke away from that tackle of Higgs and eventually gets to a couple of metres inside South territory. Caroccan to dummy half. Murray outside to Niebling. Well wrapped up this time. Billy Johnston, the hooker from Souths, right in underneath. Caroccan to dummy half. Russell Cline's lurking across from that wing, looking for a bit of action, but it goes the other way. They get it to Mark Murray. Murray about 3 or 4 metres inside South's territory as Caroccan drops up as dummy half. Big Al McGuinness on the bustle. Got out of Webster's tackle, looking for support. No one about. No one out in that wing because Russell Cline's left from there. No one working the blind side. Lewis does it now. Puts in a grubber kick for touch and is going to find it. Always thinking Wally Lewis. And bringing play up to about 18 metres out from South's line. 17 minutes into the first half. No points on the board as yet as we see the Southern Suburbs halfback Billy Ardros lining up ready to feed this scrum. Referee Ward says go for your life, and away he does, and Souths get it. That's Ken Spencer, the fullback, but Wally Lewis is there, so too is Arnold, the second rower. Put him down a couple of metres short of the quarter line. Ardros, no chance of getting through there. Wrestled to the ground by Brian Niebling. Dummy half Billy Johnston turns it back inside, coming through as Higgs, but Higgs still just short of that quarter line. Johnston from dummy half again. So Wharton decides to put the boot underneath it. Could be a good kick too. Shalosky's going back there. Can he cut it off? No, he can't. Nice kick from the halfback. Neil Wharton finding touch 9 metres inside Fortitude Valley territory. Eighteen minutes of the first half gone as Mark Murray feeds, but a penalty to Souths. 0-all the score here at Lang Park. And so we see Souths to kick for touch. Minutes of the first half gone, because this be South's chance now as they take the tap just about on the quarter line. That's Spencer coming into the back line, but he'll be put over. Getting up to play it now from the play the ball. Johnston to dummy half. Ash Lumbey. Johnston doubles around. Can he find the gap? No, he almost did, but Niebling putting off balance, eventually claimed by Strasser. This is Ash Lumbey. Lumbey runs into plenty of defence there, but he's only 10 metres out. South now still a few tackles up their sleeve, ready to put on the pressure, and can they do it from here? Back over there to Grenke. He's one of the men that could barge their way through, but underneath went Mark Murray. Dummy half Johnston keeping it going to Wharton, then away to Bruce Harry, to Astle. Astle almost slipped through, but Walker comes in from one side, Carochan from the other. Final tackles on the way now. We'll wait for something to happen from here as Gary Thompson comes up as dummy half. The winger decides to put up the up and under. It's not a good one.
All right.
Across field and going back, and Ziggy Strasser comes away with it for Valleys. Well, I guess Gary Thompson would have been better to let someone do the up and under that's a little bit more used to it.
I thought I was going to go back to Harry, but Thompson had other ideas.
Okay, this is Arnold. Cross over there to Russell Klein. He's been doing everything to try and get involved as Klein. He's left his wing on a couple of occasions, looking around for work, but hasn't been able to find it. Now there's a penalty coming up against Billy Johnston. And Wally Lewis will kick for a touch. We'll run out of time here.
Yeah, well, we'll take it the last 15 if we don't do anything else. 20.
First 20 minutes of play gone in this first half, and it's Valleys with a free tap now as it gets across to Duncan. Then Russell Klein finally touched the ball. He's been lurking around looking for it right throughout this first half so far. Hasn't been able to get near it, but he's found it this time. Carochan swings it back to Mark Murray, then to Lewis. Lewis feeds it on to Bobby Arnold. Arnold will be tackled nicely, though. That's Billy Johnston underneath. Coming up as dummy half, Shalosky. And put down this time by Higgs in the tackle. Carochan to Mark Murray, working right across field. Now links up over there with Vic Whelan, who's also left his wing. He's looking for action too. Dummy half is Brian Niebling. No points on the board as yet. To Mark Murray, turns it back inside to Carochan, who wasn't sure that he was going to get it, but eventually went with it when he did receive it and pulled over 25 metres out. The last tackle is coming up as Walker drops up as dummy half now. Over to Mark Murray. Murray sends it to Lewis. Lewis decides to put up the bomb. Not a bad one either, but going back this time is Chalice to take it nicely. And the Southern Suburbs winger under a little bit of pressure. Probably could have been under a little bit more had it not carried just quite as far as it did. Away from dummy half Spencer. Spencer about 10 metres out from his own line. Gary Grinke. The big fellow striding up centre field, looking for every metre that he can get at the moment. Lost by South. Back to Darryl Duncan. Duncan out of one tackle. And eventually put down. Argyros coming into the centre, and it was Billy Johnston underneath. Away from dummy half, Carochan sends it back over there to Murray. This is Brian Niebling. Niebling trying to bullock his way through, but plenty of defence there from Southern Suburbs.
Got a feeling Valleys are just about to score a try, Billy.
And here's the man that could do it, Carochan. No, he's lost it, has he? No, it's a try.
Oh, he's given a try.
Well, that'll be interesting to see, particularly from the head on. I thought from here, side on where we are, that it looked as though he lost it, but we'll see, George.
Here it is now. I have to agree with you, Billy. It looked like he dropped it, but Eddie Ward was right there. Carochan very quick to seize the opportunity. It looked easy, and slow it down a bit. Out he puts it. No, he got it down, then it bounced out of his hand. Good refereeing. Eddie Ward right on the spot. Back to Lang Park. Caroccan says, I've only got 10 metres to run. Can I get there? One below, one up top. Down he puts it, and then it bounces over his hand. Good shot from the front on it. Hit the ground first, then bounced over his hand. So first try to Terry Caroccan. Valley's lead by 3 points to 0 with a pretty simple kick to come. It was interesting to note, Billy, that when the teams came out to start this game, the Valley's team come out fairly casually, and as they may well do because they're the favourites for the game. And when the Southern Suburbs team came out, they were yelling at each other and really psyched up, and they've played pretty well in this first 22 or 23 minutes. We'll see if they can come back from this deficit now and get back into the game.
Well, they've had a couple of moments where they could have been yelling at themselves through this first half so far, because they have made a few mistakes, losing possession particularly, and you can't afford to do that against a team like Valley's. McNeil back onto his mark, looking for the extra 2 points, should be able to get it, which he does, and so it's Valley's leading by 5 points to 0.
He hasn't got his sling on there. Stay wide. When Billy starts, he starts to me.
Okay, here we go, back into action now, as the ball carries back there towards Scott Shalosky, the Valley fullback. He decides to run. Well, Terry Caroccan's got a bit of speed, and he just showed us how to do it.
That's his 4th try for the year, Billy, the hooker, and some very interesting interested spectators in the grandstand. There's Mal Meninga with his arm wrapped in a towel with obviously some wet pack underneath it. Alan Power in front of him, and Brad Sully to the right of him. So there's the 3 injured Southern Suburbs player, Meninga, Power and Sully, looking a bit forlorn, the whole 3 of them.
They certainly are. I'm sure they'd like to be out there and trying to do something about stopping this Valley side at the moment. However, there's still plenty of time to go. Ziggy Strasser coming up 10 metres short of the halfway mark. Darryl Duncan, dummy half. Valley's leading 5 points to 0. Lewis shaping out to kick. Cutting across field, got away from Grenke, now sends it right over the top to Russell Klein. Well, if he's been looking for something to do, here's something now, and he says, okay, here we go. Up towards the halfway mark, and eventually going to be put down about a couple of metres inside South's territory, and that's the end of the tackle count. So we'll have a scrum coming up.
The final of the Woolworths Trophy. This trophy played for by the leading 2 teams at the end of the first round now. Of course, it's only 2 rounds. And last year, Winner Manly picked up this trophy. They defeated Redcliffe last year in 81 by 17 points to 10. And Valley's play South here this afternoon. They lead by 5 points to 0.
So it's the new halfback, Neil Wharton, to feed this scrum. Hasn't had a lot to do so far in this match, George, but I did notice on one occasion, I think, where he went to pass the ball before he received it, but even Wally Lewis has done that today. So
2 hookers being spoken to, Terry Caroccan and Billy Johnston, and Eddie Ward unhappy about both of them trying to get first strike of the ball, which is a common disease for hookers.
Certainly is. Who gets the first strike this time? It'll be Johnston, because Souths have got it. That's Wharton running around the open side straight into Wally Lewis. Couple of metres short of the halfway mark now. This is Bruce Harry. Driven back in the tackle. Bruce Astle eventually ending up with it. Ken Spencer got the short shift there, back through the field. But eventually Bruce Astle to straighten it up. This is Chalice. Chalice eventually coming to rest a couple of metres, 4 metres short of halfway. Billy Johnston. Ziggy Strasser underneath, the other centre, McNeil coming in over the top. Wharton to Billy Argyros. Right on the halfway mark, and the final tackle coming up. See what Souths can do from here. Bruce Harry slipped away from Ziggy Strasser. Nice work. Looking for support. Can't get it away. Big Whelan's there, but he does get it to Johnston. Johnston running right around. He gets it to Chalice. Chalice decides to send it right over the top. Argyros passed to no one. Picked up by Ash Lumbey. He got away from Lewis. Doesn't get away from Niebling coming at him, and that'll be the end of the tackle. Counter to scrum coming up.
Great break from Bruce Harry. Southern Suburbs have stuck to their task in this first 25 minutes, but that was the 3rd occasion that there's been a clean break in this game, and the ball carrier didn't have the support. Had the support been there on that occasion, there would have been big trouble, and Southern Suburbs may have registered their first points, but they're going to have to back the man up with the ball.
Penalty coming up now to Valleys. 26 minutes into this first half at Lang Park, and the Diehards have a lead of 5 points to 0. Righto.
Are you going to use it as a commercial break that there or not? So we're coming back off a commercial now, basically.
Valley's lead is 5 points to 0. That's McGuinness taking a tap, the free tap outside of Corocan. They're just inside the South's quarter line. And last time they worked their way up here, Valley's, they ended up with the try. Can they do it this time? We'll see. Walker takes it up. Corocan, the man who scored that try. Murray swings it back this time. Brian Niebling. Ooh, there was an arm flying through the air.
I don't think it was intentional. That was Neil Wharton.
He was trying to grab him, but he ducked down at that stage. I'd agree with you there, George. So now Valley's putting on the pressure again. Let's see what Niebling does from here. Swings it back to Lewis. Lewis with a little chip kick. Following through is Corocan, but it'll just be a little bit too far for either he or Murray to get a hand to it. Plenty of South's defence there also to hold them out.
I'm impressed with the way that Lewis has backed up after both tests. He's been copped his fair share of damage from the Kiwis in both tests, and both times he's come out and played for his club, and that's a sign of a great footballer.
Well, he also received a lot of criticism early in the season, George, when people were saying he wasn't trying and this, that and that. Well,
regardless of whether he's trying this afternoon, it doesn't matter if Lewis does make mistakes this afternoon. It doesn't really matter. The big thing is that he gets out there and plays for his club, and that's what he's doing. And
there he is, sending it over to Al McGuinness. McGuinness to Whelan down here on the wing. Vic Whelan going to be wrapped up, though, getting underneath his Belcher.
Actually, he's got to the stage in his career now, Billy, where he's not supposed to make mistakes, and that's a lot of pressure on a footballer.
Getting up to play at this time is Bobby Arnold. Corocan's the dummy half. That's Mark Murray. Delays it a little bit. Strasser had to dive to get that one and went straight to the ground. And the movement broke down, but Mark Murray will flick it back to Darryl Duncan. He's out of the first tackle, can't get away from the next one, but decides to keep going. Referee said that's okay, and he's worked it right up over the quarter line now. Final tackle coming up as Corocan moves up as dummy half. He'll swing it away to Lewis, and here goes the bomb again. That's a better one. That's going to put a little bit of pressure on. Spencer's coming across, jumps up, takes it nicely.
Oh, yes. Well done, Kenny Spencer. He's really improved his game. Well, he didn't have to improve it. He's done that well consistently over the last season and this season. Souths have regained the ball. He's done that consistently over last season and this season, and I'm very impressed with the way Spencer plays fullback for Southern Suburbs. He's just fearless. He's got no fear at all, that young fellow, and there he is there in your centre of your screen, the scrum going down, and there's an injured player for Southern Suburbs.
It is Billy Johnston, the hooker, who hasn't been able to make the scrum as yet. Now he does, and so he'll pack down. Valley's leading by 5 points to 0. Ten and a half minutes remaining in this, the first half. Referee's going to call them out again.
Well, while he's having a talk to them, Billy, what so we let people at home look at the fabulous prize? Oh, they're being sent off. Oh, both of them are being sent off.
Off to the sin bin.
Doesn't matter. We'll let the people at home look at the prizes that the footballers can pick up in the Dally M Awards this year.
So Billy Johnson and Terry Corocan sent from the field to the sin bin by referee Eddie Ward. He'd cautioned them once. Here's a nice move coming up the centre. That's Neil Wharton, the halfback. Up over the quarter line before Mark Murray eventually tapped him up there. Away from dummy half is Spencer. Well, I guess referee Ward had enough, George. He'd given a caution.
Very difficult in that situation to do things like that, but I suppose he has to enforce the rules. But scrum possession is so vital that the hookers are very competitive these days, and I don't like to see players sent off, but if you're going to continually infringe and break the rules, the referee's got no other option but to do that, Billy.
So right. Here's Belcher playing it back to Chalice. Wharton, then across to Higgs. Higgs eventually wrestled to the ground this time by Darryl Duncan. Away from dummy half. Wharton puts in the kick. It's not a bad one either. It's a good kick. Brings it up to almost on the quarter line. And the little halfback playing his first game today. He was, Villageros, of course, was named as a halfback, but he's had to go to lock. And he's done a good job so far as Neil Wharton. So we'll wait for the scrum to pack down. It's right on the Valley quarter line.
Bobby Arnold hooking for Valleys and Adrian Higgs hooking for Southern Suburbs.
Well, Higgs has had some experience in the hooking position. I'm not sure about Bobby Arnold. However, Bobby Arnold's got a 100% record at this stage anyway. That's Mark Murray. They're right in front of the goalpost and about 25 metres out from the Valley line. The Diehards with a lead of 5-0. Bob Arnold. Argyros right in underneath. About to play it. Russell Klein is the dummy half. Klein will swing it back to Wally Lewis. He'll need the big long pass here to find Brian Niebling out there, but it could be good because here's Mickey Neal on the verse, sends it back to Whelan, who cut back inside, now goes back the other way and got away from Chalice, got away from Astle, looking for Neal. Neal decided to set sail over the other way and he had a bit of support, but they just couldn't position themselves to stay with him.
Good work from the young winger there. He chased him right across field and Chalice broke the movement up.
Mark Murray puts in a little kick, the littlest of all, bounces off. No, he's going to rule a knock on.
Oh, I couldn't see that. Murray has the same opinion. I mean, let's have a look at it again on the replay. Mark Murray with his hands saying, well, I thought it was okay. It come off of a Southern Suburbs player. There's the tackle, talking about Chalice. Chalice broke the movement up. Here's the replay. Lewis gives it to Murray. He kicks it now. Now, bang. It touches Billy Argyros, and Wally Lewis picks it up. Now, that should have been 6 to go as far as I'm concerned, and the penalty from the scrum.
Well, maybe this could be the make-up, do you think?
That doesn't happen.
Anyway, McNeil is, Wally McNeil is going to be the one to kick for touch. So here he goes. And finds it. So Valleys will take a tap about 18 metres out now from the Southern Suburbs line. Coming onto the mark is Mark Murray. Murray takes that tap, sends it away over there to Wally Lewis. Doubling around is Vic Whelan, he's through. Looks so easy, but Whelan is over.
You should have seen Kenny Spencer, Brian Grinke and Adrian Higgs all look at each other. You'll see it on the replay. Whelan says, good one, son. You watch the whole three of them. They can't believe he's got around here. There's Spencer, there's Grinke, there's Lumbey, and there's Higgs. And they all look at each other. Look at Lumbey, saying, oh, how did you guys ever let him through there? And I must admit, he's still looking around Ash Lumbey. He can't believe it. Have a look. It was the simplest wraparound move you ever seen. Past Spencer, Grinke has a look, Higgs has a look, Lumbey looks back as if to say, you guys should have got him. And there wasn't much football involved. It was just a complete normal wraparound movement. Vic Whelan put his thumb up to Wally Lewis and said, thanks, pal. And there's the clean-away boys, and they're not real happy about that, and by golly, they shouldn't be. 8 points to 0 against them, and Mickey Neal with a simple kick to come.
I'd say they'll know all about it at the half-time break from Bobby McCarthy. McNeil should be able to put this one over. It's a very easy kick from where he is, as you can see. And despite the fact that Souths missed one earlier in the day, with Gary Belcher, that was a relatively easy one. McNeil should be able to put it over, which he does. So Valley's get a break now of 10 points to 0.
Did you see all of them?
Did you see him, Andy? Go and get your $2 out, Andy. Here's a kick-off coming up now with Gary Belcher. Carrying back to Lewis, who sends it across to Russell Klein. Says, OK, Russell, you want a bit of work? Have a go at this lot. So he takes it up to about 30 metres out from the Valley line. They work the blind side, coming through as Walker. Russell Klein to dummy half again. Still can't get over that try. Vic Whelan, I don't think he could either. When he placed the ball, he certainly gave them some. This is McGuinness, got away from Higgs. Coming up onto the halfway mark now. There's the two hookers coming back onto the field, Carockin and also Billy Johnston. They both had 5 minutes in the sin bin after referee Ward had spoken to them. Final tackle, Wally Lewis won't find touch on this occasion, but he'll find Spencer and bring him undone as he knocks it on.
Rare mistake from Kenny Spencer. And we'll see what happens with these scrums now. Referee Ward now, of course, if they continue to infringe the scrums. Lewis has got a sore chest. I noticed when he ran out, he was rubbing his chest pretty vigorously, and obviously he's carrying an injury from yesterday's test. But I was just talking about the scrums. He has no option next time. If they do continue to infringe the rules in the scrums, he can now send them off straight off now, Billy.
This is Bruce Astle, got away from one tackle out of McNeil, got away to Spencer, who lost it.
Oh, 2 in 2 minutes.
Still can't get it, but the referee to play the knock on.
Souths have lost the ball 11 times, and Valleys have lost it 5.
Well, I can understand that ratio because Souths have been major offenders today. Wharton lining up with the scrum. Referee Eddie Ward waiting for it to straighten up a little bit. They haven't quite got down. Now they do. Wharton in. Penalty Valley. Penalty to Fortitude Valley. And once again it'll be a kick for touch. 3.5 minutes remaining in the first half. Valleys have a good solid lead of 10 points to 0. Wearing away at this south side. who I'm sure will cop a bit of a rev at the half-time break from their coach in Bob McCarthy. Mark Murray to Lewis. Murray doubles around. But getting across over there this time is Webster to take care of him. Away from dummy half, Vic Wheeland. Wheeland's already scored one try, an easy one earlier, but got around a couple of tacklers on that occasion. Carockin to Murray, turns it back inside to McGuinness. McGuinness going to be wrapped up over there, some 8 metres out now from the South's line.
That's a good front-on tackle there from Bruce Astle on Big Al McGuinness.
Carockin's dummy half, swings it back inside. That's Russell Klein, taken pretty high there by Bruce Harry and also Argyros. Carockin to dummy half, swings it back to Murray. Murray, got it away to Brian Niebling as the South defence poured through. Final tackles coming up as Darryl Duncan is the dummy half. He'll eventually get it, puts the head down, trying to find that. Touched by the opposition, another 6 tackles. So a big chance for Valley now. They've only got to swing it wide and they're in. Lewis, oh dear, if he had have got that big pass going, then he would have been right, but he couldn't.
Top marks to Southern Suburbs. They come swarming through on Lewis and the men out wide, and Lewis just couldn't pass it.
Well, had they let it go, George, there would have been all sorts of trouble for South, but they bottle it up in close there. Bobby Arnold going to ground with it as Carockin comes up as dummy half. Valley's leading by 10 points to 0. Darryl Duncan, he's pretty solid and can bump a tackle or two away, but didn't succeed on that occasion. This is Mark Murray, puts in a little chip kick. He's following out after it. Oh, so close. Only about half a metre away from that line. Souths eventually get it.
Top points to Southern Suburbs. Valley's had 11 tackles there in a row, and they still couldn't score Fortitude Valley. Southern Suburbs know it's a very critical time of the game. We've only got about 2 minutes left in this first half, and Valley's lead by 10 points to 0. Another try now would almost make it an impossible task second half, but they've hung on to that one and they're still in the game.
Well, Valley's kicked it through from they play the ball close to the line, and as you saw, South hem down inside the in-goal area, so it's a drop out from underneath the goal mouth, and that of course gives back the very important possession to Fortitude Valley. They have a minute and a half to see if they can get another one on the board before the half-time break. Getting up to just inside the quarterway is Ziggy Strasser. Valley's with a big chance there and looked as though they would cross for their 3rd try of the match. Darryl Duncan to Bob Arnold. Arnold got it away nicely this time to Brian Niebling. He's up over the quarter line, got away from Billy Johnston's tackle. He's going for the corner. He's over. Can he place it? He can, and it is a try.
Good try. That's the one that Southern Suburbs didn't want, but Brian Niebling knows the KB Cup side's being picked tonight, and this is just sheer strength and determination, and boy, he's got a bit of speed too. A fast second row, Brian Niebling. There's the pass. Out it goes. Bobby Arnold. Now Arnold just gives a little one to Niebling. Now he's 10 metres from the quarterway. He's got about 40 metres to run there, and look at him go, stretching right out. Thompson's after him now. He collars him, but it's too late. The line's right there, and Thompson rides him across the line. Southern Suburbs cover coming across far too late, and the reason it was far too late is because Niebling has got a lot of speed, and he used it beautifully on that occasion. Here's Niebling. It goes from Duncan, Bob Arnold, and there's the little one-hander. Well, he gets both hands to it. Good work, Bob Arnold. I thought he flicked it out one hand from the side on. He gets around Belcher. Johnson thought he had him covered. No way. Inside the quarter now. Look at him grimacing. He's really got his teeth gritted, and down the ball goes. A good try, and well-deserved Brian Niebling. 13 points to 0. Half-time hooter gone. Kick to come from McNeil.
And here he is, back onto his mark right now. He is just about onto the touchline as he is at the end of his mark. Now moving in. Let's have a look at it from here. It's got the direction. Has it got the distance? Oh. No. It was pretty close, though. Waved away. So the half-time score sees Valleys with a big lead of 13 points to 0.
Tony. You can, doesn't need to now. He's better off going off and having a nice sauna bath somewhere. Actually, it's bloody important. It'll really put him in really good for the Kangaroo side too, you know. Yeah, but I mean, that's what I mean, he's picked himself in the Australian side anyway, but I mean, particularly on a Kangaroo tour, they like to have blokes that can, yeah. But they like to have the blokes that can back up, yeah. 13 is, no, sorry, 30, it's not 15.
Bloody Magpies, you think they'd have given up by now? These bloody Magpies.
One of them's a bird, by the look of it.
Bet Valleys will score first. God, he's hard up for a bet. Kick off for the second half of this Woolies Trophy final here at Lang Park today, and it's Fortitude Valley putting it in play. Eventually carrying back there towards Wayne Chalice on the wing for Southern Suburbs. Brings it up over the quarter line. Decides he might try and get another metre or two, but eventually held up. Billy Johnston, dummy half. And slips through past Bobby Arnold, got it back inside, coming through with Wharton nicely, still going. He's up over the halfway. Shaloski's over there to barrel him up. And so we'll see South starting off with a little bit of enterprise. This is Webster coming through now. Still going as Webster.
That's the kind of start they've got to start with, and they've got to keep it going. They've got to put points on in this first 10 minutes, Southern Suburbs, and they're staying the right way. I thought Lewis may stay off at half-time, Billy. He's obviously got a sore chest, but full marks to Wally. He's on there second half as well.
And he has to line up on Wednesday night, so he's had plenty of football as of late. That's Gary Grinke. Valley's lead, of course, is 13-0. The final tackle coming up as Johnston spears it away to Wharton. That is Bruce Harry. Delayed, but delayed a bit too long because Ash Lumbie had run past him on that occasion, so he had nothing else to do but hang on to it and go to ground with it.
It's not good football on that occasion from Harry and Lumbie, two experienced players.
This will be a Valley ball. Going up inside there is Mark Murray, but Wharton's over there very quickly. And also Billy Argyros, who's playing in the lock forward position today. Lewis sends it away to Ziggy Strasser. Strasser has three South players there to take care of him. From the play the ball, Duncan trying to force his way through. Goes to ground with it about 3 metres short of halfway. Back to Mark Murray, turns around, not sure who was going to get it. Brian Niebling eventually has it. Niebling pulled down about 5 metres short of the halfway mark. Out this time to Bob Arnold. Ooh. Arnold going all right for a while until he ran into Gary Grinke. Adrian Higgs is the other tackler. Russell Klein, dummy half. Murray, Duncan, McNeil, dummies. Cutting back inside. There's Wally Lewis now. He'll get it away to Russell Klein. Klein gets it away to Bobby Arnold. Arnold clapping on the pace. Astle coming across. Thompson's there. They both combine. They can't get him at a touch, though. But that'll be the end of the tackle count anyway, and so we'll have a scrum coming up. Two and a half minutes of the second half gone so far. Valley still with the lead of 13-0. Penalty coming up. Wharton, the halfback, has been penalised by referee Eddie Ward. And Ward is calling him out now and explaining what it's all about. Wharton playing his first A-grade game today to take the place of Billy Argyros, who's moved into lock, replacing Bruce Astle. He's moved into the centres. 3 minutes of the second half gone. Valleys take the tap free right on the quarter line. This is Darryl Duncan mustering up a bit of pace, but no, he's going to be wrapped up this time. Higgs and also Webster over there to take care of him. About to play it. Karockin away from dummy half. Wally Lewis, the long one to Niebling. Niebling on the quarter line, back inside. That's Ziggy Strasser. He can't make much headway though. He's going to be wrapped up in the tackle coming about from Wharton. They work the line side. This is Bob Arnold. Arnold 18 metres out now from the South's line. Valleys have a lead of 13 points to 0. Anxious to build on that as Murray sends it across to Duncan. Cutting across field. Now gets it on to Big Al McGuinness. McGuinness back inside to Duncan. Duncan pulled down. He's 18 metres out now from the South line. Dummy half Terry Karockin. He's scored one try for Valleys today. It's Greg Walker coming up. Dummy half Karockin again. Will put in a little chip kick. Is going to follow out after it. He's no chance of getting there. It carries a bit too far anyway. And so we'll have play coming back onto the quarter line. After 4 minutes of the second half, it's Souths to take the tap on the quarter line. They're swinging it across. That's Ash Lumbie with it. But didn't make any headway on that occasion, South. So Valley's defence is getting up very, very quickly here in this match, particularly in the second half. They've been bursting their way up there. This is Wayne Chalice. He's on his way through, but eventually Lewis up there. Darryl Duncan comes in to take over and wrestles him to the ground. Billy Johnston, Wharton, swings it back inside to Grenke. And Grenke put down. He's 9 metres from halfway. Billy Johnston, Wharton with the grubber kick. Going back is Shalosky. It'll be a race in time. Shalosky cuts it off though. He's been beaten by a couple of Wharton's kicks today, but he gets away with it on that occasion. Up over the quarter line, got away from Wharton, but eventually Ash Lumbey the one to take care of him. Valley's about 25 metres out from their own line. Over the top, oh, Mark Murray lost it, dives on it, for the referee to play that knock on. Five minutes of the second half gone. Scrum just inside the Valley quarter line, and it's a South's ball.
Terribly important for Southern Suburbs to put first points on in the second half, and they got the chance to do it now.
Here they go now. That's Bruce Harry. They run with quite a deal of determination when they've had in the second half, George. They came out throwing everything into it, but a try is exactly what they need at this stage. That's Webster. Dummy half coming up is Billy Johnston to Wharton. Lumbey dummies. Can he get it back inside? No, he can't. Tackler over there is Bob Arnold. Johnston to dummy half. They work the blind side. Bruce Astle. Bruce Astle is grabbed over there by Walker. Final tackle's coming up now. Going to be a penalty to Southern Suburbs.
Well, that was for the tackler, for the defending player from Valley's not allowing Bruce Astle to play the ball. Here it is again.
South take the tap. Back it comes to Higgs. Higgs is reaching out for that line. They're going to just hold him up, I would say. Very close now, South, from the play the ball. Oh, Karokin came scorching through to take the intercept, and South's chances have gone west, didn't he? Move.
Well, you don't often see that, because 99 times out of 100, the player who does that will be adjudged to be offside, and the penalty will result. But on that occasion, I got a fright. I was waiting for the whistle.
Well, I saw it. I was having a look through the binoculars, and I saw this.
Here's the replay. There it is. Shot straight through the middle. For one terrible moment, I thought it was Big Al McGuinness showing the turn of speed.
Well, we know the Karokin's a speedy player, and he clapped it on that occasion. That's McGuinness with it now, actually, getting up to play it with the dummy half, Brian Niebling. Mark Murray, he's going to kick the touch. He's back over the head of Thompson, who'll be into touch on the full. Quite a deal, as a matter of fact. Seven and a half minutes into the second half as Mark Murray feeds the scrum. No addition to the points. Valley's leading by 13-0. This is Wharton, but quickly going to be wrapped up by Wally Lewis. Play the ball. Dummy half is Argyros. That's Bruce Harry. Runs into Lewis. Sends it back to Johnston. Johnston across to Webster to Astle. Astle over the quarter line looking for support. Oh, he just got cut off. He got it back inside to Johnston forward.
Oh, and I didn't think it was, but maybe we'll have a little in the instant replay. Great pass from Duncan Webster, the young fellow, to set up Bruce Astle. Right on, here it is here. We've come back a fair way, but you'll see a good pass from the number 9, Duncan Webster. Out it goes.
Lewis, by the way, was hurt in that tackle. He's down at the moment.
There goes Astle. Astle does everything, tries to stay on his feet as long as he can. Oh, yes, it was a bit forward too. And Billy Johnston to swallow dive in, but no try.
Wally Lewis just getting back onto his feet now from that tackle. That's Vic Whelan taking it up. He'll play it back to Russell Klein, about 8 metres from the halfway mark. Klein working across field. Dummy half will be the other wingman this time in Vic Whelan. McGuinness got the one-headed pass back behind Murray. It'll be picked up by Niebling. Niebling, to no one. Strasser coming through very quickly to dive on top of it. Retained possession for Valleys. A little bit scrappy, a little bit unorganised. Darryl Duncan says, OK, I'll show you which way to go. Straight up the centre here. And eventually put to ground a couple of metres inside South's territory. Karokin to dummy half. Over there to Mark Murray. Murray trying to find a gap, but no chance of it. Closed very smartly. From the play the ball now, Bobby Arnold. Lewis picked it up, put the boot to it. Now the touch judge coming in. There's a replacement coming on. Let's say it'll be for Wally Lewis.
We'll do a clean one from here. Doniger will be 3 to 10 minutes. All right, it's Peter Fisher. Take it all from here.
Peter Fisher coming on, and Wally Lewis leaving the field. Was injured a short time ago on a tackle. Peter Fisher coming on, which means that Strasser now will go to lock forward.
Actually, I was a little surprised, Billy, that Lewis came on at all in the second half. He's obviously got a chest injury, and he did very well to stay there that long.
Copped a bit of a bump, as I said before, George, in that tackle, and went down, and obviously Ross Strudwick said, well, that's enough. And so play goes on now, with Bobby Arnold coming through.
They're very lucky to have a player of the calibre of Fisher to take his place, because Fisher played very well in reserve grades. Valley's won the reserve grade 18-5. They still stay on top of the ladder. They also won the third grade 16-15, which puts them into second spot.
OK, this is Brian Niebling now, playing it back to Terry Corocan. Over there to Mark Murray. Murray in turn to Duncan. Duncan went to look for Ziggy Strasser, but Strasser had overrun him at that stage. So he had to go himself. Lost it, and now we'll have a scrum.
In this second half, the points have remained at 13-0. That was the half-time score. Southern Suburbs have played with a fair bit of tenacity in this opening 10 minutes, but they've got to keep it up, plus they've got to score points. They just had a try disallowed, unfortunately. Bruce Astle made a clean break, give it to Billy Johnson, but he was offside, but they must keep Valleys out for a start and score points themselves. Very hard
Mark Murray, he's on the way, and this will be a try.
And as soon as
around the side of the scrum.
And as soon as I say that, Mark Murray goes up the side of the scrum and in for Valley's fourth try. There he goes, straight past Spencer, nobody home. He couldn't believe it. The chase was on, but it was in a very futile chase, and Murray right onto the sticks. We'll see it from the head on, and once he's gone from the base of the scrum, there he goes. Actually, Wharton was looking for him. It was closed the gate, 4 tries to Valleys. Exactly what Southern Suburbs didn't want, and 16 points to 0. It's interesting to note that with the games they've played this year, Valleys and South, the scores have been fairly big scores. 21-13, Valleys beat South in the Woolies pre-season competition, and then Valleys have won 3 of the 4. In the Woolies comp, they beat South 29-5, and in the first round, they beat South 20 points to 11. And South's only victory, they beat Valleys 25-8, so there's been a fair bit of space between them on every occasion, Bill.
Yes, and there's going to be some space between them today too.
Looks like it, but it's good football.
Here's McNeil converting the try. So Valleys move further out in front. They have a lead of 18 points to 0.
We might even see McNeil bring up his 100 this afternoon. That gives him 91 points so far.
Back onto the halfway now, and it'll be Gary Belcher to kick off there for Southern Suburbs. So that's the first scoring in this second half. Ziggy Strasser takes it from the kick-off. He's now playing lock forward, taking the place of Lewis. And Peter Fisher coming on, going to the centres for Valleys. Brian Niebling. Mark Murray to Bobby Arnold. Tackler underneath there is Billy Johnston. Terry Corocan, both hookers sent off in the first half. We're consistently breaking the rules there in the scrums. They've both got 5 minutes in the sin bin. Mark Murray, Brian Niebling, Strasser, dummies. Fisher, or rather Shalosky, churning up on the outside on that occasion. Niebling can't get far either. So he'll play it to Terry Corocan. Corocan over to Strasser. Archie Ross underneath in the tackle, the end of the tackle count. And so we'll have a scrum coming up. Scrum is a couple of metres inside Valley territory as South's charge in there, but they hadn't quite met up in the middle.
Scrum's favouring South's 6-5. Pedley's a 6-all, Bill.
South have got this one. Wharton sends it across to Harry, to Astle. He can't hold it. Flying through. Spencer going across over there will regather for Southern Suburbs. But sloppy play again. And away from the centre there, coming up is Belcher.
6 to go indicated.
Dummy half Billy Johnston. He sends it back to Bruce Harry. Harry up over halfway. And coming in underneath there to put him down is Brian Niebling. Johnston around the corner to get away from Niebling. Astle to Lumbey. Lifted up a bit this time by Strasser and also Al McGuinness. They're a couple of metres inside Valley territory now. Thompson to Wharton. Wharton got it back inside to Bruce Astle. He can still get the pass away, though.
Good work.
That's Wharton. Getting it across then to Belcher in the centres. Gary Grenke coming up the centre. Final tackle coming up now. Away from dummy half. Johnston sends it on to Higgs. Higgs will be put over about 15 metres inside Fortitude Valley territory.
Just watching Southern Suburbs' pattern of play in those last 6 tackles, and unfortunately they aren't doing anything right. There's only the one out, although Bruce Astle got a good pass away, but every other run was just the one-out player, and they won't score tries doing that, or will they?
They will this way. That was Wharton. You'll see it coming up again as he had Argyros going the other way. He slipped around the side of the scrum and raced away. George, every time he gives someone a knock, they start scoring tries.
I said they won't score tries that way. Well, you will. Wharton, a perfect dummy at the base of the scrum, as a matter of fact. Away he goes under the sticks for a good try, but he comes around from the base of the scrum just like Mark Murray did last time, and he dummies. He does a good dummy, and I'll go this way, he says. Open spaces, home James, and it's good to see the young fella put the ball under the sticks, because he's been playing very well for them, young Neil Wharton. And first try, and maybe that can give it some heart. They could come back from here. It remains to be seen.
Gary Belcher attempting to convert the try. Valley's in a huddle in the in-goal area, and why not? They weren't quite with it on that occasion, but they have a big lead at this stage. Coming up is Belcher to kick for goal. Does that, and so it's 18-5 now. They've had a couple of big leads lately, haven't they? And whittle away in the second half. Didn't they lead West 19-0? Relaxed in the 2 because Brothers came back too. "17 minutes gone in this, the second half, and Southern Suburbs have hit back with a try. Could that be the start of a revitalisation for them? We'll see as Billy Argyros brings it up onto the quarter line. George, Valleys have had a bit of a history the last few matches of getting good early leads and seeing them whittle away in the second half.
Just thinking about that, Billy, they did that to Western Suburbs. They let Brothers do the same thing, and that little conference after that try, I think they might be having that in the back of their mind too. Righto, fellas, we're in front 18-5. Let's consolidate and get some more points on the board, and let's not make it too hard for ourselves. Okay, this is Wharton working his way across field, put the head down, and tried to sneak around Fisher, but couldn't do that. I think Southern Suburbs have different ideas. They're still got a lot of fight left in Southern Suburbs, and there's still plenty of time for them to do it too.
That's Gary Belcher with the ball. He's 8 metres short of the halfway mark. Dummy half coming up, Gary Thompson. Wharton, Harry, big long one. That's a Wally Lewis type one, and it's worked because there's Ash Lumbey on the go. He's coming up over the halfway. Where's the support? Gary Thompson inside. He gets it to Thompson. This could be a try. It is a try. Thompson going for the line, and it's over.
Great work. Well, that's terrific. That's what you like to see. Down 18-0, then 18-5, now 18-8. And watch the speed of Ash Lumbey. I read somewhere during the week that Lumbey ran a marathon at the end of last week. Well, I tell you what, if he runs that fast in the marathon, he'd be a long way in front of me, I can tell you. But watch that beautiful pass, and away goes Lumbey. And he goes away from them, Lumbey. He's got them legs really pumping. Over halfway, Thompson does well to stay in perfect position. Right across with him, now inside. Over the quarterway, and Thompson with just too much speed there. And, oh, what a turnaround and great stuff. Well, I like watching that kind of football. From front on, once again, it's the perfect pass from Bruce Harry. Harry, an old rugby union player too, of course, like Wally Lewis, and puts Lumbey into a beautiful gap through Karockin. Walker can't catch him. Spencer's coming through there with him, and you'll see Thompson come into the picture now. Right across. There it is. You couldn't see him from that side of the camera angle, but Thompson, as soon as he got the ball, there was no doubt about it, and that's changed the game around because the kick's fairly simple.
And the man to do the kick, of course, is Gary Belcher, and he's just about back at the end of his mark now. Well, if he can put this over, 18-10, and Southstar well and truly back into the game. There it is. It's on the way, and it's there. So, Valley's 18, South's 10. Oh, Andy's revitalised here. It shows the game.
Thank Christ.
Yeah. Now here's Mark Murray to set the ball into motion.
Oh, that was a nice little bit of footwork there from Adrian Higgs.
He just said, see you later. I'm going to go try and pick that up. And eventually it's left to Gary Grinke over there. This is Ash Lumbey, the man who showed plenty of toe in that try that Souths have just scored to get right back into the game. 8 points the difference now. A little bit of a difference to 18-0. So they're back into it. Wharton sending it back to Higgs. Higgs got it away to Johnston.
Oh!
Outside of Wharton. Wharton's on the burst. He's got a bit of speed. Can Shalosky get him? Can he get the pass away? Well, Shalosky gets him all right.
What a turnaround.
And Wayne Chalice was in there waiting for it, but he decided to try and go himself.
Oh, wait on, Billy, the game's been called back. He ran all that way for nothing.
Oh, my goodness.
I didn't see that. What's he ruled? A forward pass. Well, can we go back and look at the forward pass? Because, oh, listen to the crowd. Listen to the crowd. They're not real happy about that one. And you wouldn't think that at 18-0 5 minutes ago that the game had come alive so much. Here's the pass. Which one is it? That one.
Couldn't be that one.
That one. Oh, that was flat. Yes. Well, I don't think it was forward, but it was very flat. Let's have a look at it again. Bang. Back we go. Nope. There's the scrum packing. We might get it. Coming up now. We'll have a look at it again. It was the last pass. Not this one. Not this one, but this one. Slowly does it. Oh, how's that?
Oh,
level. Level.
Not much in it.
Level. So,
not a great deal in it, but certainly
Ward can be excused for calling it back, but the Southern Suburbs players won't excuse him, I'll bet you.
I don't think their supporters will either. They're giving him quite a rev over there.
5 minutes ago, Fair Dinkum could not see Southern Suburbs making a game of this, but are they making a game of it now, or are they ever? There's still plenty of time left for South to come back and win the Woolworths Trophy, and 10 grand with it.
Yes, there's 18.5 minutes of play remaining as the scrum packs down 5 metres inside South's territory. In by the halfback Wharton. Taken out by Mark Murray, though. Quickly going to be wrapped up. Well, Valleys, can they be stung back into action? Have they got an answer for this South's onslaught into the second half? Russell Klein thinks he has, as he moves around into the centres there to try and bust them open, but he can't. This is Arnold. Bobby Arnold away from the first tackle.
It's a sign of a good side too, Billy, that are down 18-0 and can produce good football like that and get straight back into it. Southern Suburbs are a good side, as we know, and they're showing us that this afternoon.
Well, a score of 18-0 would take the sting out of anyone, really, wouldn't it? That's Niebling sending it back to Darryl Duncan. And the 5'8" trying to work his way up the centre, but Argyros is the tackler underneath. Karokin to Mark Murray. Ziggy Strasser. Well, the Valleys would like to answer that, I'm sure, with a try. Let's see how they can go. They're working their way up. But that's the final tackle, so Mark Murray has a kick for touch. It is going to be touch and go, but now into the in-goal area and into touch in the in-goal area. So it'll be back onto the quarter line.
Well, can Southern Suburbs produce another try? That's the big question. If they can put another try on the board, we've really got a game on our hands. I think the next try is obviously vital to either side, and particularly to Southern Suburbs. If Valley score it, well, they're in dire straits then.
Adrian Higgs takes the tap on the quarter line. It eventually ends out with Bruce Astle. He gets it to Argyros, who in turn is quickly going to be wrestled to the ground this time by Mark Murray.
He is one player who will not give in, Billy Argyros.
Okay, this is Gary Grinke. He's over the quarter line. Matter of fact, they're about 25 metres out for their own line now, South. Wharton to Bruce Harry. Turns it back inside to Higgs. Got away from Arnold first up. Can't get away from Brian Niebling.
I think that turning it back inside, that's what Southern Suburbs were doing when they were going nowhere. But as soon as they spread it wide, they started to make some movement. And I hope that Harry moves it wide when he gets it instead of stepping back inside.
Well, Billy Johnson was the one to kick it right upfield, and that's Vic Wheeland. But he'll be tackled over there by Gary Belcher. They're about 5 metres short of halfway as McNeil slips around the blind side, but not for long. He's going to be held up by Belcher again. Plays it back on the halfway. This is Walker coming through now. Bumped away Bruce Harry. He went rolling through the air. Dummy half is Karokin to Mark Murray. Murray in turn back over to Bobby Arnold. Arnold to Strasser. Strasser got away to Duncan, but they're not making much headway. They're throwing the ball around, but losing ground actually, and Russell Klein eventually goes with it just about on the halfway mark. He'll play it back to Neil, to Strasser. Mark Murray. Murray running right across field. That's Fisher. Fisher in turn. Got it away to Shalosky into it. Here's a bit of action. Shalosky just held by Johnston.
Oh, great
broke
tackle.
out of it. And eventually Ash Lumbey there.
Great tackle, Billy Johnston. He's a competitor as well, that young fellow.
So Valley's on the attack again. Back it goes to Niebling. Had to do well to pick that one up. Right over the top to Arnold. Here's Strasser. Ziggy Strasser looks inside. Didn't look outside where Russell Klein was. Goes to ground with it.
Scrums at this stage favouring South 8-7. And the penalties favouring Valley 7-6. Nothing in that. And still about 15 minutes of play remaining in the Woolies Trophy. Valley's leading by 18 points to 10. Critical stage of the game for both teams.
Lining up with it this time is their halfback Neil Wharton from Souths. He's had a good game, this young fellow. He's got a good turn of speed, George.
Yes, well, Shalosky's not slow, as we know, and he almost got past him.
Here's Brian Niebling as Valley's win it. There's Wharton underneath, by the way. Dummy half Darryl Duncan to Al McGuinness. Bustle, round the corner. That would have been forward, I'd say, anyway, but it's going to be lost. And it's a Southern Suburbs ball. Now, they haven't had possession for a while. Can they come back? We will soon see as Kenny Spencer brings it up to 20 metres out from the south line. Away from dummy half, Johnston to Argyros. Argyros to the quarter line. Billy Johnston with the jersey out over the shorts. Swings it back to Bruce Astle. Astle away from McGuinness, but Fisher's there to take care of him. 14 minutes remaining in this match. And Souths, who'll come back rather strongly in this second half to register 2 tries, but Valley's holding a lead of 18 to 10. Johnston from dummy half again to Wharton. That's Bruce Harry. He looks for a gap, loses it, towed through, but the referee will. Valley's lose it. Shalosky comes away with it. Play on. The referee playing the advantage, and Valley's get up with it about 4 metres short of the halfway mark. McNeil dummy half. Ooh, Mark Murray had moved up a bit, so it eventually flew through over there to Russell Klein. He transported the ball up to about the halfway mark before he'll eventually be upended. Dummy half waiting for it this time is Karokin. Duncan, Niebling. Niebling pushed away one tackle, couldn't push away the next one. First up tackle was that of Higgs. Karokin to Mark Murray. Right over the top. Ooh, Fisher. It wasn't a good pass to Fisher. He's going to knock it on, and so we'll have a scrum 10 metres inside Valley territory.
Well, time ticks away, and Southern Suburbs need the ball desperately from this scrum. 8 all the scrums.
Penalty Souths. Mark Murray hadn't even fed the scrum. Penalty Southern Suburbs. Karokin questioning referee Eddie Ward.
Having no part of it, and Southern Suburbs have got to put a good line kick in here.
And take it up from there.
Yes, and if they can take it up from there and produce the 5 minutes of sparkling football that turned the game right around, well, she's going to be a furious last 6 or 8 minutes.
Okay, Neil Wharton finds touch just on the quarter line. Souths will take the free tap from there. Let's see how they can go. 12.5 minutes to go. They trail at this stage by 8 points. That's Higgs. Strasser underneath. On the play the ball, Billy Johnston. Now looking for one of his big forwards coming through. There's one of them, Gary Grinke.
He's not hitting the ball hard enough. Higgs and Grinke took the ball up okay, but they weren't at full speed, and they've got to be at full speed.
Wharton sends it away to Bruce Harry. Sends it to no one. Karokin toes it through. He's out after it now, but the referee has called it up for a knock-on. So we'll have a scrum about 25 metres out from the Valley line. Scrum packs down. It's a Valley ball. Mark Murray sends it away this time. Duncan coming through. That's Russell Klein on the burst. Klein pulled down 5 metres short of halfway. He'll play it now. Fisher from dummy half to McCarthy. The big fella McGuinness. I knew it was a Mac somewhere. Was getting it out was the problem. Strasser has lost it, but South end up with it. Some 30 metres from their own line. From the play the ball, Higgs. Souths have a replacement getting ready down there on the touchline. Wharton gets it back on to Johnston to Grinke. Grinke going to be eventually tackled by Ziggy Strasser. Johnston away from dummy half. Trying to find a way through. Now ends up with the jersey right up over his head. Lost the ball back behind him, regathered. Some section of the crowd not happy with it. Dummy half is Wharton. to Bruce Harry. Harry trying to find a way up the centre. Sent the pass back behind them, rolling on the ground, picked up by Wharton, got away to Bruce Astle. Astle doing everything to try and break the line. The final tackle coming up. And away from dummy half is Wharton. He's going to be grabbed from behind this time. Darryl Duncan reached out, grabbed a hold of his jersey and pulled him to the ground.
Replacement player in the second row for Southern Suburbs is Malcolm McBride. McBride taking the place of Duncan Webster.
Okay, here's Wharton on the go again. But going to be put down this time by Shaloski. Time running out for Southern Suburbs. 10 minutes remaining. Ash Lumbey. Lumbey to Grenke. Bumped off one tackle, that of Strasser. Corocken goes in underneath and over the top Fisher. Up to dummy half, Billy Johnston. There's a replacement player. What was his name again, George?
Mal McBride. McBride.
Okay, Harry sends it away to Astle. Astle straightening it up, but runs straight into plenty of defence over there from Valley. Final tackle coming up. Gary Thompson, dummy half. 18 to 10. Valley's leading. Bruce Harry. Got it away then to McBride. McBride caught in the final tackle and a scrum coming up.
Not much in the scoring, average scoring for these teams. Billy, Valleys have averaged 13.5 a game and South's 14.5, so there's not much in it.
Waiting for the scrum to be fed by Mark Murray. It'll be a South's ball. Wharton to Bruce Harry. Coming through very solidly this time is Chalice, or rather Belcher. Belcher getting up to play it. Thompson dummy half. Can South get that elusive try? Penalty to South.
Well, they can kick for goal from here at 18-10, right in front, 26 metres out. 18-12 is not much good to them because they're still more than 5 points out of it, and they've taken the tap to good decision.
Okay, here's Ash Lumbey with it now. He's up to the quarter line, broke out of Niebling's tackle, but eventually Walker finishes him off. Dummy half waiting up is Argyros, played forward by Lumbey. Lumbey in turn, finding his way to that line. And eventually pulled down, only 7 metres out now. Here's the chance for the Magpies. Dummy half is Argyros. Crowd starting to warm up to the occasion. Argyros tries to sneak through but can't. Dummy half. Billy Johnston. Over to Wharton. Harry. Harry dummying, coming back inside, and eventually wrapped up.
Well, the one time when he should have passed the ball because Spencer was through.
Away from dummy half Johnston. Oh, it's going to be lost over there by McBride. Rolls on the ground, but the referee to play the knock on.
They regained the ball. It was good thinking there from Billy Argyros to dive in for the ball. It's a tenacious little terrier, as we know, and as I've said before, a great competitor, and still a chance, Southern Suburbs, if they can win this scrum.
An important one as Mark Murray puts it in. 7.5 minutes to go. Penalty Southern Suburbs. Now the pressure will be on. Billy Johnston coming up onto the mark. Some of those big forwards will want to do some hefty work here. Johnston kicks for touch.
I never know why they'll kick for touch, kick it backwards and start play from further away from the goal sticks. It's always got me intrigued.
I'll go along with that one, too.
Taken the tap and gone for them sticks as hard as I could.
Here's Wayne Chalice now. He's only about 5 metres out. About to play to Billy Johnston, dummy half. Another penalty coming up. McGuinness not letting him play the ball. Johnston was going to take a quick tap. He gets it back to Higgs now. Higgs is barrelling his way to the line. Couple of metres out. Johnston dummy half. He'll swing it back over to Grenke coming up there. Grenke trying to find his way through, but Mark Murray and Arnold are there. They're right in front of the goalpost, as you can see, as Argyros swings up to dummy half. Wharton got it away to Astle. Astle creeping for the line and it's in. Never say die, Bruce Astle.
I was just about to say, if Souths are going to get this Woolworths final, they've got to score now, and that's exactly what they did. And Astle, the man, watch him struggle here. Gets the ball. They've got hold of him. Duncan's trying to pull him down, but not Bruce Astle. You watch him using every ounce of energy. Ball over the line. Oh, great try, Bruce Astle. A great try. From front on, real captain stuff this. Real captain's football. Struggling with every ounce of energy and over. And terrific to see Southern Suburbs come back as they have. 18-13. with a kick to come, and by golly, we've got 5 minutes of furious football left.
Well, he used elbows, hands, everything to stay up. Now, there's Mark Murray and Bob Arnold right in the centre of things there for Valleys, and they've let it slip right away from them, Fortitude Valley.
And it's all happened since Wally Lewis has left the field. I'm not saying that Lewis could have stopped it, but it's all happened since he's left the field.
So
an important kick, this one.
Gary Belcher coming up for the shot at goal. Whoa. It's on its way. It looks good. It is there. We've got a ball game on our hands at Lang Park with 5.5 minutes to go. 18 to 15.
Well, I, for one, would never have thought at 18-0 that South would have come back to 18-15. I was hoping they could have made a game of it. But, boy, have they made a game of it, or have they ever?
And they've certainly livened this Lang Park crowd up, which isn't a bad crowd either for this match today, but you'd expect that with the two leading teams. As Mark Murray sets it in motion, 5 minutes of play remaining. Big question now, can the Magpies go on from here? Well, we'll find out. Spencer with it now. Dummy half waiting up there is Billy Johnston. Johnston to Grenke. Got out of Strasser's tackle. The pass to Argyros. Argyros wrapped up in centre.
I wonder what thoughts are going through Big Mal Meningas. We might be able to get him, Big Mal Meningas, in the grandstand up there with Alan Power and Brad Sully, I suppose. 15 minutes ago they were down in the dumps. Now they might have a bit of hope. Although they still all look a bit forlorn, don't they?
Yes.
I suppose you can't afford to laugh yet. We're still behind, they're saying to themselves.
Well, at least it's made it a great match. They've fought back and haven't handed it to Valleys on the platter.
Not over yet.
Far from it. Warden being penalised again by referee Eddie Ward. It's a differential penalty, of course. Valleys can't kick for goal. They have to kick for touch. But they're going to take their time about it because there's only 4 minutes of play remaining.
And I've changed my mind 5 times in the last 4 minutes as to who can pick up the George Simon suit and for the best player of the game, and also 3 points in the Dally M Award. Very difficult decision here this afternoon.
George, I'll let you go ahead and decide it yourself.
Many thanks.
That's Vic Whelan. From the play, the ball now away from dummy half, Russell Klein. Klein trying to fight his way towards that line. Well, if Valleys get in now, of course, that'll be the one to wrap it up, and Vic Whelan's trying to be the man to do that. They're only a couple of metres out. Russell Klein up as dummy half. These two wingers have been together for most of the day. Now Darryl Duncan is dummy half. Let it go wide. No, they're going to drop. Duncan's over. Darryl Duncan's in.
Well, if anybody can do it, if anybody can do it, the little bullocking Darryl Duncan can do it, and they're pretty happy about it. And well, they might be. Duncan, a specialist in this position, very strong young lad, as we've said many times. Just says, well, look, I'll fix it up for you. Bang. And doesn't just let them put him down over the line, puts himself right full body length over the line. Crunch, up and over. Sheer strength and stamina and determination. I like this young kid as a footballer. 21-15 and a very happy boy. Well, some great performances from most of the players. Lewis played very well whilst he was on there. In the forwards for Fortitude Valley's Bobby Arnold tackled his heart out, 17 tackles, Niebling with 13. And McGuinness put in a fair few as well. And even the halves, Duncan and Murray, got up in the double figures as far as tackling is concerned. And the whole team played very well. In the back line, McNeil never got many chances this afternoon. Russell Klein went looking for work. Vic Whelan, well, couldn't believe the try he scored, but there was an extra one for the season, which gave him 4. And they've all played very well. In the Southern Suburbs camp, well, they hung in there until they got the big kick along and scored 3 tries. And almost got there, but here's the kick from McNeil, Billy.
It's on its way. It's looking... No, well, it was looking all right for a while, but just away to the right-hand side and was also short.
5 tries to 3 now, 21-15, and Valleys will win the Woolworths Trophy and pick up $10,000, but not before some great performances from Southern Suburbs and the tackling performances of Lumbey, Higgs and Johnston, all up in the 16s, 17s and 18s, and also Billy Argyros up there with 19. So that's where the work was done in there. By the Southern Suburbs pack, and they hung into their job all day. The back line, Bruce Harry, I thought, stepped in a bit too much, but made a couple of real good breaks. Probably the best of the forwards was Ash Lumbey. Harry made a couple of good breaks, but I thought stepped in a bit too much. Astle out there never stopped trying. Belcher did everything was asked of him, and also kicked 3 out of 4 goals. Chalice went looking for work. Thompson went looking for work. and Spencer made a couple of errors, a couple of knock-ons, but his whole game, you couldn't fault Kenny Spencer on his whole game. So both teams putting in great performances. It's good football to watch when it comes back like that, and it's a pity that both teams can't win the game, but Fortitude Valleys will go out and win it, and we'll just look at the last couple of minutes.
Okay, now we see Vic Wheeland up there as dummy half to Mark Murray, Bob Arnold. Arnold about 10 metres short of the halfway mark. Penalty coming up now, and a little bit of a scuffle on the way. Bit of pushing and shoving. Penalty had been awarded to Fortitude Valley.
Well, we haven't had any fisticuffs whole game. It's been a tough game, like final should be, and we don't really want that in the last 29 seconds. But you can understand the way the players feel. As I said when we started the game, Billy, Southern Suburbs come out yelling at each other and really fired up. Played that way most of the time, but just couldn't score the points.
Well, that was the amazing thing, that they were stirred up to start with, but took so long to really start getting things together. However, when they did do it, they did it quite well. Here's Big Al McGuinness now. Billy Argeros still there, still tackling. And time's running out. Full-time hooter. Goes down on the Woolies Trophy, and Valleys run out winners by 21 points to 15.
And as I said, some top games from a lot of players here this afternoon, but I've given my man of the match, bit of a skirmish in there near the end. I've given my man of the match to the Southern Suburbs captain, Bruce Astle, number 8, playing in the centres, led them by experience. It's not very often you give a player in the losing team the man of the match, but for my money this afternoon, Bruce Astle played his heart out, did everything right, and he'll pick up the George Simon suit and 3 points in the Dally M Award.
Okay, so that's it at Lang Park. A win for Valleys over South by 21 points to 15. Billy J. Smith and George Doniger signing off from Lang Park.